Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Manga Swag. It's your boy J-Rock right here. Now today we're gonna be talking about manga and its new formats, right? So lately there's been all kinds of new premium formats, bigger books, more expensive. So I wanna talk about that a little bit. Part of the reason for this is because there's it had a spike about 3 years ago here in America, right? And in America, we don't mind spending more money on luxury items, right? When it comes to our hobbies. So typically, you would have these $10 manga, right? This is the singles, you could say. And they would sell the licensing and the companies, the publishers and so forth would be like, yeah, people would buy it more, $10, they're willing to blind buy something, see if they like it. They're not gonna spend, $100 for a big book like this compared to this, right? Like, that just won't sell. At least that was the kind of the mentality. And I'm here to kind of explain things to you how here in America these might actually sell more, right? Alright, so we're gonna talk about Western comics a little bit, but bear with me guys. This is gonna lead into the manga topic. So first I wanna talk about the way things work with Western comics, right? Typically you get your single issues one every month. So after 6 months you would have 6 issues out. Now when the 7th issue comes out, when it's announced on the previous pages or whatever, you announce the 7th issue and you would announce one of these, volume 1, covering the first 6 issues. So you could buy this and then buy the 7th issue where it continues, right? Now the next 6 months, then you would have volume 2. Once you have 2 volumes like this, then you come out with a hardcover, right? Or sometimes they do volume 3. And then after the 3rd one, you have a hardcover. So sometimes the hardcovers, if these volumes have 6 each, after 12 issues, you will have one hardcover. Sometimes there'll be 18 issues in a hardcover, right? But typically there would be 12 issues, so you would get one every year. Unless sometimes these trade paperbacks, you get 4 issues on some of them. Then there'll be 4 issues, 8, 12, and then after the 3rd one, you would get the hardcover, right? Now I know these look thin, but trust me, it's the same material you would get here. It's just the page quality. These are a lot thicker than this because this paper's thinner but heavier and glossy, right? So once they bring out the hardcover, it will look like this but thinner. This is like a ultimate collection, so it's a lot more pages. It will be a little thinner than this. Same height as your Berserker book, right? So you started off with in the Western comics, you started off with this height, and then over the years they started doing this format where now they're bigger. You see how now they're taller? So this is how they normally would look this thin. Look at this, I don't know if you can tell there, but they're wider, right? Because they're taller and wider, they're just a bigger trim size. The Western comics would have this nice like buckram feel to them, and the foil letters there, much like your Berserk. Although I do think Dark Horse got them beat with this buckram style, this fake leather. It feels way better on this book than on these, in my personal opinion. Now I wanted to point out things to expect going forward, right? In the Western comics, these books can get a little expensive to make. So what they started doing is they started doing these books. Same book, but you see now you just get like the logo here and stuff. You don't get this foil anymore. To cut costs, because these stamps are kind of expensive. So they cut costs, they went this format, right? And the spine it still has it in color and white. So they started going this format so the books can stay at a decent price, right? Then they started going this format. Now this is still like that leather feel, right? Like the Berserk ones. This doesn't have that. This is like the silent voice. It's just a smooth finish and they just print the artwork on here. So this still ends up being a lot cheaper than building them with this fake leather. Although this looks nicer. Here it still looks cool because you at least get some artwork on them, right? On the front and the back. So I think nobody really complained when this change happened in the comic community. Everybody was still happy. They're like, oh, we still get some pretty cool artwork. It started with this. Once you get 3 of these, you would get these. And then they started doing 3. Once you had 3 of these, they would put all that material into one of these. So that's 3, 6, 9 volumes you would have in one big omnibus like this, right? Then it really started becoming a problem when you started introducing books like this He-Man, where they want to put the whole series in one book. That's just ridiculous. Now here's the difference in thickness. I don't know if you can tell much from that right there. Let's just put this He-Man book next to the Berserker just to compare. It's almost as thick as 2 Berserker books. So this is way too far. So you see how things can get out of hand. The books become bigger and bigger and thicker and thicker. Then it just becomes too much where what was once a cool thing that was kind of convenient, getting everything in one book, now becomes an inconvenience. So now we're working backwards. Now what they've been doing in the Western comics is now they're trimming it back down, making them a little smaller again, right? Typically for me, about 1,800 to 1,000 pages is perfect for these. This is 1,600. That's way too much. It has to be at least half the size, right? Like this is around 600 pages. So I think in these you could 800 pages, and this type of paper would be about as thick as a Berserker book. I think the Berserkers are just the right size as far as how thick they are, how much material they cover and whatnot. Okay, then you had Dark Horse. You know, they check out the market. They follow French comics. They follow all kinds of different. They get licenses from everywhere, right? So they were seeing that, hey, these Marvel big books are selling, so they had to outdo them, right? And Dark Horse did these even bigger books. Now both of these books have the same page count pretty much, but look at this, the size is just way bigger. Look, there you see how much more taller it is and how much more wider it is, right? Now what I love about these Dark Horse ones is this Marvel would be about $75 to $100. Dark Horse ones, this one, you saw it's bigger, same amount of pages, and the pages are better quality, and these are $39.99, right? So they give you the books a lot cheaper than Marvel would. But I don't like how big they are. I think this size is perfect. I wouldn't want anything bigger than this. And plus some of these don't fit in my shelves. Only my top shelf fits these. The rest of the shelves are about the height of these. It's kind of like a personal problem because we all have different bookshelves, right? So you see how in the Western market, we started off with this, then we went to this size, then this size. Look at how much more bigger than where we started. It's humongous, right? That's too much. And I'm seeing this happening in the manga. Not necessarily in the community of readers, because we don't control what format these come out in and what the publishers do. But it's a trend that's starting with the publishers themselves. They're seeing what the American comics are doing, and they're kind of taking ideas from there, right? So those are some trends you should expect going forward with manga publishers, right? Especially Dark Horse, because I know the manga division is different from the Western comics division. But, you know, they do somewhat talk to each other so they can check out each other's sales and so forth, right? The manga started with these, which are fine. And then they started going this route with the 3-in-1. Once you get 3 of these, they would all be in one collection, much like the Western ones. But they leave them in the same height, right? So this sucks because now it's paperback. Had it been hardcover, it may be a different story because it would have some binding. But this is where they started, the humble beginnings of manga. All the 3-in-1s used to be like this. I used to see them in the store back when I didn't collect, but there was only this format, right? Recently, we have gotten them this size now, where they're bigger, right? They're taller. That makes sense because since the book is thicker, make it taller. It makes more sense. So now let's talk about this format. This omnibus format is real nice, in my opinion. And the covers themselves, it's different material. So this one, you can fold it like that, and it won't crease. It'll just bounce back, right? It'll just go back without creasing. So this material they use is really good. I think this is a keeper. They should just keep going this format as far as their paperbacks. Now they're starting to do hardcovers like this, and they're the same height, but these are just like a 1.5, I believe, and these are a 3-in-1. So it's 2 of these basically, right? They're basically the same, and they're flat spine. That's something I've been noticing, they use the flat spine. So let's just get rid of this here for a minute. Now I got 3 hardcovers right here, 3 different companies, Kodansha, Uran Studios, and Viz Media. Uran does a lot of different style of books too, right? They make American comics too. Right off the bat, I'm noticing these have flat spines. When it's a thin book like this, perfectly fine. But preferably, if anybody, manga publisher or something's watching, you want to go with this, with the JoJo's Bizarre Adventures or Fist of the North Star or Vinland Saga, those rounded spines. That's what you want. And it's going to make a big difference once the book gets thicker. But once you get to a bigger, thicker book like Berserker, the hardcover right here, you want this round turtle shell spine, right? You don't want the flat spines. If you've seen the Immortal, they have hardcovers. I think they're called the Blade of the Immortal. They're gray. They go with a flat spine. You don't want that flat spine. You want this Berserker spine. This is way better. Trust me, the gutter loss. Now look at here. This is the gutter loss right here, right? Look how much of it you get. Nothing. It lays basically flat like that, right? It's perfect because you have this round spine. When you have a flat spine, it will not curve like this, so you can't open it perfectly flat like that. Now look at this Fist of the North Star. Look at the binding. it doesn't lay flat. You see how it curves in right here? It's not flat. Look at this binding on Parasite. Completely flat. Although this one is using a flat spine. So I don't know, they just did a better job with the binding. Look, you got nothing here, right? So this is well done. And look, when you have 2-page spreads, they lay so flat, you get no gutter loss in between, right? That's it. This is amazing what Dark Horse really did with this Berserker book. I have a lot of hardcovers from different companies, and this by far I think is the best built book out of all my books. There is some big expensive absolutes which can rival this, but for the price what you're getting this for, oh my god, it's amazing. And here I noticed that with the art, they even left like white in between. They moved the art a little bit out so that if there is gutter loss where it bends like this, that would make up for it, right? So it would still connect, right? You wouldn't lose anything, which that was just such a genius idea. I wish more books did that, especially ones that are like glued binding and stuff, or the binding isn't so good. That way you wouldn't get gutter loss. This is where we started, and this is where we're at now. Way bigger, right? You don't want them any bigger than this Berserk. If anything, you can go a little smaller, but no bigger than this. This is exactly the size of a Western comic. So for me, it's perfect. I'm used to wielding books this size. That's a perfect size. Another thing I noticed is, like I said, these also started with the foil stamps because, Dark Horse also publishes Western comics. So that's what they do with those books, right? So in the future, going forward, expect to see books like this being done where it just has artwork on the cover and not these foil stamps, because it's just cheaper to do. And also this material is just cardboard. It's not like this leather thing they put over it, right? This leather skin, which is way more expensive. So I think later they will go this route to cut costs, just like Western comics did. Another thing that doesn't really affect anything, but I wish they would have changed. When you put these on the shelves, it's gonna have 20 books with the same design. Have a bunch of Conan books, and I used to have a lot of Spider-Man and X-Men books, and the Marvel books all had black spines with white letters, right? Saying X-Men or saying Spider-Man. So I had like 40 books that all look identical to each other, right? The only difference is they say volume 1, 2, 3, 4. That looks so boring on the shelf. I was not a fan. So I hope that when books do this, even with this Berserk, see how it says Berserk in red foil? I wish maybe volume 2 had blue foil, volume 3 silver foil, and then you go back to volume 4 red foil, blue foil, and silver foil. And that way at least I'll have a trend, right, where it's not just the same thing over and over. I don't want my shelves looking just black and white, because I don't live in a black and white world, right? I need some color in there. I like a bright aesthetic. It just looks more inviting. Another thing I want to show is that lately Manga has been doing this, at least since I started collecting about a year ago. They'll throw in a random color page like this, and then you'll get back to regular pages. One thing I don't like on this Fist of the North Star is when they throw a color page in here, it's a different material page, right? It's like glossy paper, and the rest of it is stock paper, the manga eggshell paper, as Anime Collective likes to call it. I like that term, so I'm gonna go with that. It's eggshell, right? And this is glossy paper. I do like that they added some color pages, but I wish they kept it in sync. Keep it this way. Keep it eggshell. If it's eggshell, keep all of them that way, even the color ones. Because when you mix two different medias together, it makes it easier for these two in the future come off, right? So be careful for that. Okay, so Kodansha has released this book, Parasite, and it's in color. And what I really like here is it's stock paper, you see, with the light up on top. No glare, right? In Western comics, we call this stock paper. It's lighter and it's non-glossy. I really enjoy this paper more because it is lighter and it soaks up the colors a little bit to where I really like them. When it's on glossy paper, they could be bright and shiny, and that doesn't always fit the tone of what I'm reading, right, of the stories. Sometimes when it's too bright and colorful, like a circus, it doesn't fit a book. Like let's say Berserker, for example. You want the colors to be more mute, right? Like it's a more serious, gritty story. So I really like what Kodansha did with this book. The binding is perfect. The coloring is good. The paper is good. I hope they release more of these color formats. Now, I know everybody's been going crazy for that Vinland Saga hardcover announcement. It's going to be a big book like this. The design of it looks cool. I'm digging it. But there's not enough color on it. I was looking at the spine, and I go, if they all look the same, it's going to be the same as these Berserkers, where it's going to be a lot of books on the shelf that are all the same color, right? I hope each book is a different color, or the font is a different color. But I'm going to wait till I see 2 or 3 volumes out, right? Because right now I'm not sold on them. I'm going to probably keep the ones I have because those are all real colorful, right? They all have different color spine. They look real nice on the shelves, and they got artwork. Okay, guys, this is a very important question. Everybody watching the video, I really do hope you leave some comments if you're. I want to know everybody's opinion on this because I feel like I'm not alone on this, but I could be wrong. Me personally, I would much rather. I really like what Kadansha did with this here. I would much rather you keep doing books like this size in color. Spend that extra money to give us color. Then instead of spending that money on giving us this big oversized book, I don't mind keeping them the same size. I'd much rather have a color option, right? So I could buy either the black and white or the color edition. Let me know what you guys think. Would you rather they keep investing in these hardcover formats as the new trend, or would you rather get a color manga? Because I think if like something like Parasite does well, I do think that publishers like Kodansha will make more manga in color. If they see they got their money back and made a profit, right? They'll say, okay, let's invest our money in making color editions. Marvel, DC, they constantly invest money in remastering and the colors on their books. Even though they were originally in color, they put money in. So when you look at the hardcover, you look at the single issues, a lot of colors are changed around and different. Sometimes it's for the better, and sometimes it's for the worse. But that's a whole another story for another day. So let me know what you think about it. Would you rather there be a trend of color manga, or do you want to keep this trend of big oversized books? Traditionally, you would want both, right? You would want the big book in color, right? But then that'd be like $100. Okay, I think I covered just about everything I wanted to cover. Maybe the only other thing would be that manga is always gonna be more expensive than Western comics because they have to license the property from somewhere else. So they have to cover price. They're not more expensive. The Western comics are overall they're more expensive because they're bigger and you get more content, right? More pages. But Marvel owns Spider-Man. They own X-Men, so they don't have to give any royalties, if you will, or pay for a license, right? And manga does. So therefore, when they sell it to the comic shops, they sell them at a deep discount. So if you buy them online, they can pass that discount on to you. For example, Marvel, DC, they give you like a 45%, 42% discount. Manga gives you 25% discount, right? So it's a little bit of a discount, but say a book is $100. Once they give you that 50% discount at Marvel or DC, then it's only $50. As opposed to like a Berserk book here, which is 50, but with the 25% discount at Right Stuff, it's 35. So now I think it's 38 actually. So now the price seems closer, right? 38 and 50. You're like, it's not that big of a leap once you put those discounts that you will get on the online, the gray market, I call it, right? Online websites and so forth. That was the last thing I think I needed to cover. I had forgot to mention it. But other than that, if there's anything that's going through your mind, chime in the comment section. Let me know what you think about this, the trend we're getting in manga, and do you think we're gonna be seeing these other trends I just mentioned, or is there any specific manga you want to see in color or in oversized hardcover? And the most important, which one would you prefer out of the two, color or oversized? Other than that, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Just wanted to bring up a topic, something that we can all talk about, right? Because I know it's going through all our minds, especially at a time like this with a huge announcement with that Vinland Saga oversized hardcover, right? So yeah, other than that, go ahead and hit that like button. It really helps the channel, helps me out. And hit that subscribe button if you want to see more manga content, right? That way it'll notify you on your feed when the next video comes up. And I think that's it for today, and I'll check you guys out next time.